Hi everyone, this is Tomo. Thanks for watching. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tomo, and I'm a translator in Japan, residing in Japan, and translating both Japanese and English, and vice versa. But I also work as an author. I have published 26 books in total, primarily for Japanese people who are learning English or who who are seeking self-enhancement, for instance, to grow in their intellectually or physically or mentally. So those are my jobs. I'm a translator and an author, but I also worked as a chaplain in the States, in Connecticut and in California. I was a hospital chaplain and serving those patients and staff and their loved ones. So I want to tell you about today about relational poverty. Not the overall picture of poverty, but relational poverty. The reason why I'm telling you about this is because I think relational poverty is much more significant and profound than merely the overall picture of just poverty. And I'm going to explain you later why. Okay? So, what is relational poverty? When you hear the word poor or poverty, you may think of the financial poverty, like we don't have anything left in the bank accounts, for instance, so we have zero numbers in the bank accounts, or we are in debt, for instance, like millions of yen or millions of dollars, for instance. So that indeed is poverty, and I don't disagree, I don't deny that. Of course it's true, but what I'm gonna explain to you now is a relational one. So what's the difference, or what really is the relational poverty? How is it different from merely the overall picture of poverty? So relational poverty, in my own definition, is a poverty in terms of your relationships. For instance, your relationship with your loved ones, your family, or your friends, and so on, or your colleagues, and so on. So if you have abundant relationships, for instance, abundant can be construed as negative, but if you have rich relationships, for instance, you have friends, and not just like shallow and superficial friends, but also those real friends who really care for you and care about you and who are really concerned about you and who really love you. Those are the real friends, or it could be families. So if you are surrounded by or relating to those people, your loved ones, then you are in relational wealth. You are in relational wealth. On the other hand, if you're not surrounded by those people, in other words, if you're surrounded by superficial friends, for instance, who don't actually much care about you. For instance, if something happens to you, they don't really care. They just pretend that they don't listen to you, or they just ignore you. Whatever the needs you have, whatever the situations you are in, that they just abandon you. So those are the shallow people on the superficial level. It could be family or it could be friends. And if you're in that situation, it is unfortunate. But if you're on the other hand, if you have friends and families who care for you, then you are blessed. Right? So my own definition of relational poverty is that you do not have much or many or enough people around you who care for you or who love you, essentially. So the reason why I'm telling you about this is because I myself grew up as I didn't grow up as an orphan, but I actually have been an adult orphan. So do you know the meaning of adult orphan? So if in case you may not know the meaning of adult orphan, it refers to it sounds like oxymoron because it's like adult but orphan, because orphan usually refers to children, right? But it's called adult orphan. So adult orphan is someone who is already an adult, say like 18 years old or above, or 20 years old above, depending on the country. But you are an adult, but you do not have anyone amongst your family members, like immediate family members, who are really close to you. Does that make sense to you? So in my case, I was an adult orphan. When I was 17, my mom passed away because she had mental illness, and she had 7 miscarriages before my brother was born. And my brother was born, his name was Keisuke, but he died within a year. Almost a year after he was born, he passed away because the doctors here in Japan couldn't take care of him well. In the 80s, the medical situation was much less advanced than now, of course. But the fact is, unfortunately, my brother died. So I'm a second child, but an only child. So I grew up, that's my kind of family background. But because of the 7 times miscarriages, and what's more, my brother was born and he was here on earth and here in Japan, but he passed away within a year. And that gave my mom a significant amount of distress, which kind of crippled her physically and mentally. And that's why she had to be in a mental hospital for the rest of her life until she died in the hospital. And so that, my mom, when I was 17, like second grade of high school here in Japan, she passed away. And my dad was a strong and faithful man, because even though all my relatives on my mom's side encouraged him to abandon her because she was mentally sick, because it costs a lot, tons of thousands of dollars in Japan just for the medical bill, right? And all my relatives on my mom's side encouraged him to divorce her. He never did, because he loved her and he pledged to her that he's gonna love her until he or she dies, and that he was true to his words. And that's one of the reasons why I respect and love him so much, even if he passed away. Anyway, he died when I was 23, second year after I graduated my college in Japan. He was diagnosed as having a pancreatic cancer, and he said, the doctor said he has only 3 months left. And according to the doctor's words, he died almost exactly the same 3 months after he was diagnosed. So that's my dad. I still love him and respect him. But so when I was 17, I lost my mom. And when I was 23, I lost my dad. And my brother, Keisuke, he was born here, but then I could never see him because he died a little before I was born, in the same year. So at the age of 23, I became an adult orphan. And it's been a long journey, because I'm 38 now, so it's been 15 years I have been as an adult orphan, except the fact that, thank God, I am blessed. Thank you, Lord, that I'm blessed with my wife, lovely wife, beautiful wife, Pam, and also my 2 little beautiful children. And I can't be thankful more to God for providing this new life to me. I am confidently able to say that I am in relational richness right now. Not like the best situation or anything, but yes, in terms of family, I'm super blessed, and I thank God for that. But relational poverty, as I have been experiencing that myself firsthand, this is really, really painful. If you haven't been there, you will know sooner or later, because you and I will inevitably die one day. Like my family, like my dad, like my mom, like my brother. We all die. You know that, right? So, relational poverty is super painful. After I lost my dad when I was 23, I've been crying every single day, almost 3 months, until I feel like there's no more tears. There's no more tears coming from me, from my eyes. That's how I was sad. I was really, really sad. There's a Buddhist altar of my dad and my mom in my house, and then I was just crying in front of the altar every single day. So that's how I was coping with the pain, the emotional pain, which is the sorrow and the sadness. And it is painful, and you know it if you've been there. And you're fortunate. Please be assured you're fortunate if you have not experienced the relational poverty. You are blessed. But know that you will experience it one day, and it is painful. So it is, I think, good to have some input in advance so that you will know how it's going to be, even vicariously through listening to my story. But this is a relational poverty I wanted to tell you about. It is painful, and it's good to know what it is like. Yeah. But what really helped me is my friends. At that time, I was surrounded by good friends, mainly Christians, but good friends, and who told me about the reality of God and the existence of God, but also the reality of love. In the community, in the relationships, I was able to find love and the warmth and grace of God. So that kind of really transformed my life to see the better picture of life. Because life, I think, is like a coin, right? It's like a flip side. It's not always beautiful. On the other side, it's always the other side, the reverse side, right? And I think we have joyful moments that we should always be joyful together as a community, but also there are sad moments that we get sad, in which we should all sorrow together. And I'm glad that I was able to experience that, because I know now the both sides. But life is like a coin, I believe. And the grace of God is transcendent, and so it has a power to transform your life and my life as well. And I was able to see the love and feel the love and grace through the community and through God's help, and that was transformative experience for me. And I just wanted to share this story with you. But relational poverty is strong, and it's gonna really hurt you, and you feel really, really painful. But hang in there and seek help. Like, if you have friends, or if you do not have friends, seek help. And those who really care for you, God will provide you. In my own experience, He did, and He never abandoned me, and I'm faithful. And I'm faithfully believing that God's grace is prevenient for you. Prevenient for you. God's prevenient grace is always with you. Alright? So this, I wanted to conclude my story about relational poverty, and I hope it made sense to you, and I hope you got something out of it, and I hope you learned what relational poverty is, and through my story you got some more better, like, real picture of it, and hope that you will find rest and peace in God through my video. And again, thank you so much for watching this video, and God bless you and your loved ones. Bye bye.